Both teams have made it back to the field, getting ready to start our second half. The Gophers on top of the Panthers, 14-0. Before we start the second half, let's go down to Jamie Hirsch. Jamie, what's going on?
Thanks. Well, I got a chance to catch up with both coaches going into the break, and Coach Kill says offensively they have to be patient. He says our line is not holding up long enough. They're blitzing a lot, and we need to move the ball out instead of trying to power it up the middle. And as for the Panthers, well, Coach Dameron says we got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. Every time we get into a rhythm, it's either a botch snap here or a penalty there. He says we need to calm down. And I asked if they are going to plan to stick with both quarterbacks. He said absolutely. Guys?
Jamie, thank you so much. Your thoughts on that?
What I tell you about patience. Once a coach, always a coach. I mean, that's a Jerry Kill. This is not his first rodeo. University of Minnesota head coaching job. He knows that. It takes time. You don't panic. You work at things, you evaluate things, you get in sync. All too often, when you're struggling offensively in some regards, you look sloppy. It's not one player. It's left guard on this play, tailback on the next play, wide receiver the next play. You got to get them all on the same page.
So here we go. Freshman Santoso kicks it off from the 35. And again, kickoff into the end zone and through the end zone for a touchback. That's the type of kick coverage that the Gophers want. Jerry Kill is a stickler on special teams, and he says, you know what, the best coverage is a touchback at all times on the kickoff. That's what you want.
I used to call those beer cans. Non-returnable.
Depends on which state you're in.
Well.
All right. It is going to be Eastern Illinois on offense. We wonder which quarterback it will be. Under both Andrew Manley and Jalen Whitlow, we saw mistakes made. 5 penalties, 2 bad snaps, a missed field goal, no plays longer than 20 yards. So the Panthers still trying to figure things out, and they will have Jalen Whitlow as the signal caller. Whitlow began the game, but then alternated with Andrew Manley. Whitlow, the transfer from Kentucky, started 15 SEC games over the last 2 years. And Whitlow showing off that dynamic playmaking ability, floats a pass that's a bit too high, incomplete.
Well, you're going to watch it right here. It's hard to describe that play. They fake the jet sweep. He goes at the quarterback draw. That's not going to work. Then he comes on back out, and then he finds an open receiver but overthrows him. He is very fortunate there wasn't an offensive lineman downfield.
Press coverage played by the Gophers, and it's going to be a quarterback run, and wow, Damian Wilson with force drops Whitlow. Wilson, one of those big linebackers that the Gophers are so happy with.
Yeah, well, you'll see it right here. They're going to fake the dive. It looks like Whitlow is reading the option, and he keeps it. Bad decision. Then he goes back inside, but meets that big defender right in the hole. Good tackle.
Gophers dreaming about a 3-and-out. And there was some confusion defensively. The Gophers have to call a timeout.
Timeout. Minnesota. Teams first.
And number 7, Demarius Travis, checked into the game late. He's an experienced player. Started a couple of games a year ago, but he didn't know what the play call was, and the Gophers have to burn their first timeout of the second half. Saturday, it's a full slate of great regional action. At noon, you'll see Iowa take the field against Northern Iowa, or Illinois versus Youngstown State. At 3:30, it's Nebraska taking on the Owls of Florida Atlantic, or Maryland's debut in the Big Ten against James Madison. Saturday on BTN and BTN to go.
Well, in this situation, getting Bodie Calhoun back off an injury last year really gives them the luxury to jump in and out of nickel defense.
He wears number 29. Here's the blitz. And down goes Whitlow. Gophers just attacking. Alex Keith, the junior from Columbia, Missouri. a nice game so far.
The element of surprise on defense. Minnesota lines up in a nickel defense showing coverage, but you know what you see is not what you get all the time. Came with a blitz, dialed up the right defense, chalk one up for the Gophers.
The ruling on the field was a quarterback sack. The previous play is under further review.
Well, you just heard Sean Smith. Now that we're taking a look at possession. Did the ball come out? And the ball was out. Who ended up jumping on top of it? This is a reviewable play this year.
This year. Last year it wasn't. Now they can look at it. Does he have control of the ball? Is it out? I would say it's out. It's a free ball in my estimation. Now who comes up with it?
That's Cameron Botticelli, who jumped on top of the quarterback. Did he surround the football as well?
Talking to the officials prior to the game about this year's replay, looking at it, and he said, you know, it's a lot of times it's easy to see if it comes out. Easier said than done. Who recovers it on the ground, and when did the whistle blow?
You know what? I think this is going to be Gopher football. If you look at the play long enough, Demarius Travis swoops in and grabs the football.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. 4th down.
Well, the fans here at TCF Bank Stadium, they were looking at the replay board above the west end zone, and on the replay board, if you looked at it long enough, it appeared as if Travis picked up the football.
But what you couldn't tell is when did the whistle blow, and that stops everything.
So it's just a sack. The Gophers aren't going to get greedy. They'll still get the ball back. Cody Edwards will punt it away. Marcus Jones, a punt return, and it's blocked! The Gophers have it blocked, and it's going to be a touchdown! Logan Hutton. It was blocked by Keith, and Hutton rumbles in.
Well, you're going to see Logan Hutton come here, and I can tell you one thing, his brother Lee Hutton played for me, and if Logan runs as fast as Lee, the guy's a burner.
That was Eric Murray coming off the edge and giving up the body to get the block. So again, Eastern Illinois handing the Gophers favors, and they cash in. It is now a 21-0 lead. Jerry Kill's team opportunistic, making it happen with the block, punt, and touchdown. Have you ever wondered what that old piece of Big Ten memorabilia was really worth? Follow expert John Arcand as he hits the road, traveling the country in search of the most exceptional Big Ten collectibles around. It's the premiere of Big Ten Treasure Hunter, September 16th on BTN. I'm intrigued. Hell, how about that for a treasure? On the hunt was Logan Hutton. Ball popped in the air after being blocked by Eric Murray, and Hutton picks up the loose ball and runs it in for a cheapy touchdown. 21-0 Gophers. And another kickoff through the back of the end zone, and it'll be a touchback.
Well, they're using that spread punt formation, and I just got speed. You know, you got to get that ball off. You can't block everybody from the outside. You can see comes unabated, lays out perfectly, crosses his hands, blocks the ball where it's going to be, not where it is. Result, touchdown. Logan Hutton. Lee Hutton, his brother, jumping for joy. He's a prominent lawyer here in Minneapolis.
Tracy Clays. He's with the glasses, left-hand part of your screen.
Right there, see there? It's Tracy. Tracy was a student assistant for me when I was the coach at Kansas.
This year, Tracy Clay's not just the defensive coordinator, the associate head coach as well. Wow! The hitting really intensifying here in the second half for the Gophers. Devondre Campbell.
Well, you're going to see it right here. They're just going to fly to the football. They're going to sink it out right there. Look at that position. He gets it to bounce to the outside. He's got those long arms, which Tracy really likes. He gets them wrapped up, and then watch out. Here comes the posse.
Finished off by Damian Wilson. Second down throw. Just trying to get something out in space and maybe break a tackle. Doesn't work. Stephen Bravo Brown, for the most part, has been quiet. That a gain of 7. The very first time Eastern Illinois had the football, an impressive drive. They got slowed with a bad snap once they got into Gopher territory. Ever since, it's been a struggle.
They got it going because the quarterback was able to run the ball effectively on option.
Here comes Whitlow. He's got the first down and then some, out to the 45.
Well, that wasn't the option, but that was the quarterback running the ball effectively. And quarterback goes like that to set up, and he takes off like that. It's a thing called contain. You got outside, inside contain, and those defensive linemen, if they are so intent on rushing the passer and get out of their lanes, you got problems.
Quick little pitch and catch, and a gain of 3, maybe 4. Bravo Brown, second grab on this drive. Jalen Whitlow, the transfer from Kentucky, just came over in June, starting to learn this offense and learn a new school in Eastern Illinois, and it's got to be really difficult to learn so much on the fly in such a short amount of time.
Well, you saw that quick pass out to the perimeter. That's what we call a gimme throw, because they got a soft corner, but you still got to pitch and catch it, and you've got to put the ball on the money with the ball in front of the receiver so he has the opportunity to catch it and make a defender miss him.
Adam Drake, the man in motion. Rolling pocket. Incomplete. Looking for a big gainer to the tight end Lee Pack, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Well, you're going to watch right here. It's 2 receivers outside, but just watch how these defenders are sitting on these routes. Great confidence in their ability, and they're not threatened with the deep ball, so they're going to sit on those out routes, make it awful difficult for Eastern Illinois to compete them.
They're going to go for it. 4th down and 6. Maybe they won't go for it. Play clock down to 5. Quick kip is a disaster. Oh my, what a shank. And it's going to be Gopher ball in great scoring range. A 3-yard punt for Jalen Whitlow. Whitlow can do a lot of good things, but he's not a punter. Welcome back, everyone. 11:30 remaining in the third quarter. 21-zip Gophers. Time now for our United States Marine Corps leader of the game, and it's the senior for the University of Minnesota, Cedric Thompson, a 4-year player. This is a guy who has come from a very difficult background to succeed in enormous ways. With more on that, let's head down to Jamie Hirsch.
Yeah, well, guys, Cedric Thompson has a tremendous backstory. Jerry Kill and the Gophers expect him to be a leader on this team, but when you think about where he comes from, it really is amazing. He grew up among some gang violence in South Central LA, but then left for a small and pretty desolate place called Bombay Beach with his dad when he was in high school, just trying to escape that life. But through hard work and natural ability, he was able to really be a leader on this Minnesota team, guys. It's amazing what he's done so far.
Yeah, Jamie, Bombay Beach, for you folks who may not know at home, it's a community of 300 people. It's on the Salton Sea. We're talking degrees in excess of 120 during the summer months out there. It's a place that is almost uninhabitable, but he made a life for himself there and said, you know what, I don't want to be there the rest of my life. Got his grades up, and he's turned himself into a wonderful football player once the Gophers finally found him, which was not easy.
Well, Bombay Beach, For anybody that's been out to Palm Springs to play golf, it's about 60 miles from there. It might as well be 6,000 miles from there because there's no comparison. What really impressed me, this young man walked into Coach Kill's office and looked him in the eye and said, I am ready to lead this defense. Put me on the spot. Now that takes some guts and some confidence.
Couple of no yardage plays for the Gophers bring up a 3rd down and 10. Mitch Leidner to throw, and that is broken up. Deontay Jackson, a nice defensive play on the pass intended for Isaac Frichte. 3 and out for the Gophers.
Again, the passing attack. Mitch Leidner, he threw the one for a touchdown where the back was sitting on it. He lucked out there too. That defensive back was sitting on that route. And I am sure that Matt Limegrover, Coach Kill, they're going to tell him, hey, you're playing Eastern Illinois. But you start playing the folks that we're going to play in the Big Ten, you do that, that ball's going the other way.
You're just joining us. The Gophers have 3 touchdowns, but one was on a blocked punt. The other one was when they got the ball at the 5-yard line after a fumbled snap. They only had one real legitimate touchdown drive, and that was a beauty. In the second quarter, a 90-yard touchdown drive, but that's the only legitimate big-time drive for the Gophers. They need to work in that category. Gophers defense on the field when we return. Golden Gopher football teams can always drill in perfect weather conditions at the Rod Wallace Indoor Practice Field, part of the University of Minnesota's Gibson-Nagurski Football Complex. And Jerry Kill, facilities he's working with now in his 4th season. This wonderful stadium, TCF Bank Stadium, was already in existence before he and his staff came over from Northern Illinois. This is now the 6th year at TCF Bank Stadium, and a win tonight, and the Gophers would officially be a 500 team at home here at TCF Bank. Oh, it's going to be a double pass. It gets back to the quarterback, Whitlow, and he's got room to run, weaving down that right sideline. Finally forced out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Nice little pitch and catch there by the quarterback, Whitlow.
Well, you know it's going to be a trick play because watch when the receiver gets the ball, he's backing up. So that's a lateral, then a forward pass. The linemen are doing a good job getting downfield, getting their blocks, and he gets as much as he possibly can.
That was the other quarterback, Andrew Manley, who had checked in for that trick play. And it's the longest play of the night for the Panthers. Whitlow spits it out. It's complete. Bravo Brown shakes the first tackler and is brought down at the 40, but 15 more yards for EIU. Eastern Illinois ranked 11th in the FCS coaches poll to begin the year. This is a team that's got a chance to do some damage, but they're scoreless as we play the 3rd quarter here against the Gophers. That play blown up, and Whitlow stopped after a nominal gain.
The adjustment that the Gopher defense has done a fine job on compared to when the game started is the quarterback keeping the ball on the naked, coming out the back door, as you see right here, and also the option play. Made some adjustments. Again, they didn't know what exactly they were going to get. You have to adjust on the sideline. Tracy Clays and that staff, very experienced, doing a good job.
Complete underneath to the tight end. That's Lee Pack, the transfer from Baylor. He's actually a walk-on player for the Baylor Bears. Didn't like that lifestyle and said, I want to be a scholarship guy. So he goes to the FCS. He is a 3-year starter now for Eastern Illinois. Last year, 51 catches and 8 touchdowns. On 3rd downs, quarterback keeper, and Whitlow settles. He goes out of bounds after a gain of 1. Eric Murray to be credited with a tackle. Whitlow brings up 4th down now.
Exactly what I was talking about. They're getting prepared for that quarterback coming out the back door, which they were hurt early. But you see that Eric Murray stays at home and lets the pursuit from the inside catch it. Nowhere to run but out of bounds.
4th down and 2. Whitlow keeps it, has the first down. Took a significant hit from Antonio Johnson, but a gain of 9.
Minnesota rushed. You'll see Minnesota's going to rush 6. They got both linebackers walked up, going right up the middle. All the gaps should be taken care of. I'm sure Tracy Clay saying, you got to be kidding me. That quarterback can't put the ball down and run.
Inside run, Taylor Duncan weaves his way forward for 7. Eastern Illinois now has 84 yards here in this third quarter. That's all of the yards we've seen combined. Minnesota has not picked up a single yard here in the second half. Another quick hitter, this one out on the edge to Bravo Brown. And he's got the first down. Ball came loose late. It's Gopher ball. Minnesota's got the football. Alex Keith comes up with the
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovered in the field of play by Minnesota. First down.
Whitlow throws the ball right out of the money. Seems like he's got ruled a fumble on the field.
Keith forced it out and then picked it up. Take a look at the right arm of Keith. Wow. The right arm and then the left arm. Oh, wow. This guy is a 250-pound lineman with those ball skills.
Well, you got a good shot at there. I was talking earlier about how you have to protect the football. You have to protect the front tip of the ball and the rear tip of the ball. High and tight. Rear tip of the ball was exposed. Result, fumble.
Leidner, his handoff to Cobb. And Cobb speeds out across to the right side and is close to the first down marker. Eastern Illinois, they've been their own worst enemy. A couple fumbles lost, a punt blocked for a touchdown, a punt of just 3 yards.
Part of that was 2 center quarterback exchange problems, which should never happen.
Minnesota has a 90-yard touchdown drive. Looking for a 95-yard touchdown drive here. Just getting started, though. A pickup of a slim yard right up the gut.
Well, if you're Jerry Kill, Matt Limegrover, and you talk about we need explosive big plays, well, here's an opportunity to have a real big one. About an 85-yarder. How was that?
How about Max Williams?
I would say get the ball to Max Williams or Berkeley Edwards or Donovan Jones.
Eastern Illinois shows blitz and it works. Adam Christic got in unabated and he wraps up Cobb for a loss of 3.
5-yard loss on the play.
Well, you're going to see it come right from the backside right here. Unblocked. You're going to hand the ball off. Right through. Oh, man, tight end. You have got to get your head across. You cannot allow inside penetration. Lincoln, if you want to play more, you got to do a better job of blocking. That's what they're going to tell him.
Robert Haynes with that tackle. Best playmaker on the team this year for the Panthers. Third down and a bunch. Leidner plenty of time, but nobody's open. Ooh, got hit right on that out-of-bound line. Seemed to be a clean play. And it'll bring on the punt unit.
This is close to a late call going out of bounds. And watch it. I think he steps out of bounds. He's out. They're fortunate there. You know, one thing Jerry talked about, Coach Kill, is that Mitch Leidner's got to realize when to take a hit, when to get down, when to stay inbounds, when to get out of bounds. He should have got out of bounds there, not even come close.
Here's Mortel. Low kick is going to bounce at the 46 and take a massive Gopher roll all the way inside the 25 to the 24. 60 yards. What a thing of beauty. But Mortel will take 60 yards next to his name each and every time he punts the football. Weeknights, join the conversation on BTN Live. It's the most comprehensive nightly college football discussion from the guys who love to talk about the game. BTN Live, weeknights at 6 Eastern on BTN. Best time of the year, Coach? College football season.
There is no other time. As far as I'm concerned, college football is year-round. It's not playing the games, it's recruiting, it's spring practice, it's development during the summer. Just can't get enough of it.
Only August, but we're already talking about a lot of differences in this year's college football season. You're a playoff guy, huh? Whitlow runs out of bounds. Your thoughts on the playoff that we're going to see?
Well, I knew it was coming because the media was demanding it, the fans were demanding. If anybody thinks it's going to clear everything up, that there's still not going to be argument. If you're that number 15 that doesn't get into the playoff, you don't think you're going to be upset? Come on.
Whitlow, dangerous pass, almost intercepted. Demarius Travis on the coverage. Yeah, this is what the playoff format is going to look at the end of the season. You got the semifinals, the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, with the title game AT&T Stadium down in Arlington, Texas. That's a couple of weeks later, January 12th. So you've still got fun, important games on January 1. And then you got a huge deal on the 12th.
Huge, big.
3rd down and 5. Drake has the first down. You see why Drake had 85 catches a year ago. Knows what he's doing out there.
Eric, another issue on this playoff with the selection committee that I do like, though, besides the 4 teams in the playoff, the next 4 bowls that they will assign, they'll assign the teams based on the most compelling matchups. And I think that's a positive thing.
Lee Pack tackled quickly after the grab. Nominal gain. It'll bring up 2nd down. Eastern Illinois 12-2 a season ago. Their season opening game was against San Diego State, and they slaughtered the Aztecs. Played real well. That, of course, was Jimmy Garoppolo as their senior quarterback. Whitlow was not expecting that snap. He's able to adjust and make a little bit of something out of it. It'll bring up 3rd down and short.
They've had too many problems with that. They got to need some work. I'm not exactly sure. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Sometimes it's a silent count on the ready. Sometimes the center will make the call. Some teams like Ohio State, you'll see their quarterback clapping their hands and everybody listens, you know, for the clap. But whatever they're doing right now, it's not quite working.
This no huddle of Eastern Illinois hasn't been as fast as I think a lot of people expected it to be. And a timeout called, indecision for the Panthers.
Timeout. Eastern Illinois. Teams first. 30 seconds.
So 2 more timeouts for both Eastern Illinois and Minnesota, with 3:10 remaining in our 3rd quarter.
We talked about that at the beginning, that change in coaching staffs. They were still going to be no huddle, not up-tempo like they were in previous years. A year ago, they snapped the ball in less than 20 seconds each and every time. And you got to remember, a team, they were scoring almost 50 points a game. They have nothing to show for today. And Eastern Illinois has not been shut out in 126 games.
Oh, goodness.
You think that's on their mind?
Time now to compare tonight's quarterbacks, brought to you by Quicken Loans. Coach, your thoughts?
Well, you know, you look at it, I gotta be honest with you, when you look at both these guys, I think Leitner, a lot of work. I'm really impressed with Jalen Whitlow. I like what he does, especially on the move. He can beat you with his feet. Very accurate when he's moving, throwing the ball.
Speed sweep left side, Anthony Taylor. gets close to the marker. Damian Wilson with the tackle.
But in all fairness to Mitch Leidner, and I've been saying this for weeks now, people view him as a returning starter. He had some starting ability,
on the field.
but he only played 180 plays last year of major college football, only 78 passes. It's going to be a work in progress.
There's a Gopher down on the field. We're expecting to see a 4th down and 1. That is Alex Keith, who has been really active tonight, getting a little bit more playing time than he probably expected, with Michael Amefala not dressing this evening.
Yeah, so Amefala, he's banged up. He was questionable. He's not playing. Now Alex Keith gets banged up. Hopefully he's okay. You know, one minute you have great depth in college football, the next minute you have none. And it's not like pro football where you have some injuries. You can trade and bring new guys in. It's like high school. What you got is what you got.
Coach Mason, when you were playing at Ohio State under Woody Hayes, you guys were actually hitting during training camp. You actually would be in full pads, and you would have guys colliding for weeks before you had your first game. For the most part, these guys haven't done too much tackling and actually hitting each other in training camp.
When I was at Ohio State, we only played 9 games. When everybody else was playing 10, they gave us an extra week of practice. It was a war, I can tell you that.
On 4th down, Eastern Illinois goes for it, and they have an extra set of downs.
And back in those days with Coach Hayes, there wasn't a lot of passing. There was a lot of 3 yards and a cloud of dust, which is brutal. Good surge by the offensive line. Talk about leverage. You can see the white shirts underneath the yellow shirts right there, the gold shirts, and that's when you get movement, especially in short yardage.
On 1st down, man is open, and it's intercepted. The Gophers have the ball. It's Antonio Johnson. Another turnover, and the Gophers in point-blank range.
Well, you're going to see Lepak, number 9, right there. He's going to be wide open, and the quarterback misfires, throws the ball inside when the receiver goes outside. Miscommunication results in a turnover.
Antonio Johnson out of Shaker Heights, Ohio, known more as a hitter than a playmaker, but he's got the game's first interception. 2 fumbles and an interception thrown by Eastern Illinois. Leidner's handoff. Nope, he keeps it, and Leidner showing some good feet, has a 1st down. That's his most significant rush.
Yeah, you're talking about a big, strong quarterback, and he's going to fake the dive, and you are not going to take Mitch Leidner down with an arm tackle. You're just not going to do it. You're going to have to get your head across the bow and wrap your arms and tackle him like a running back, because that's what he is.
If you're the Gopher coaching staff, can you afford to run him as much as you'd like, knowing that there really isn't a safety net? His only backup, Chris Strebler, a redshirt freshman who has no playing time under his belt.
Well, that's your offense. That's what Jerry Kill does, and you can't coach scared. And if he's not going to do it, if he's not going to run the quarterback, he's going to have to change, because running the quarterback is a big part of it. I absolutely agree with you. They have depth problem at quarterback. If that young man would go down, they probably would have to change their offense. Not sure if they have a 2. I don't even know who 3 would be.
Cobb next to Leidner. This is Cobb right up the gut, down to the 22. Now, quite possibly, the Big Ten depth starting to wear on the Eastern Illinois Panthers out of the Ohio Valley Conference.
It becomes an accumulative effect. When you talk about that big offensive line of the University of Minnesota, every one of those guys is 300 pounds plus. And all of a sudden, you take a pound and down after down after down. If you're running for 3 yards in the first quarter, you're running for 6 or 7 in the fourth.
2 tight ends in the game. More power football. Cobb. Good defense. Jordan Wycliffe hadn't called his name too much, but this is a real comer out of Columbus, Ohio. Good open field tackle. Loss of 3.
Well, you'll see the ball bounce the outside, but hopefully we'll see in the picture, you'll see Mitch Leidner. Watch him come. I mean, he's a football player. He wants to get a block and spring his man free. I'm not sure Jerry Gill wants to do that.
Final ticks of the 3rd quarter. Williams goes in motion. Leidner goes the other way. It's complete to Jones, who has the first down. That's the final play of the 3rd quarter. Mr. Big Play tonight for the Gophers on offense has been number 4. Donovan Jones, a touchdown and a nice gain right there. 15 more minutes left to play. Minnesota trying to add on to what already is an impressive shutout of Eastern Illinois. Tomorrow night, the beat continues. The defending Big Ten champion Michigan State Spartans kicking off their season under the lights in East Lansing. They host Jacksonville State. Pre-game coverage starts at 7:30 Eastern. Tomorrow on BTN and BTN to go. Max Shortell, Gopher fans, former Gopher quarterback, started a couple of games a couple of years ago. He is with the Gamecocks of Jacksonville State. Interesting to see him in a different uniform.
I still remember when he came on the scene for Minnesota against USC out in the Coliseum and looked good.
3rd down and 1. It's a pickup of 3 yards on the keeper. And there is a flag down on the field.
At the end of the play, dead ball, personal foul. Defense, number 32, flagrant foul for a non-football act. Number 32 has disqualified himself from the game. Penalty results in a half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That's a big deal. 2nd personal foul on Camus Brugier-Hill. Junior linebacker is done. There was an altercation with him and Zach Epping, number 52. Well, yes, right-hand part of your screen. No need for that. So, Brugier-Hill done. And the Gophers going backwards. Donnell Kirkwood, submarine. Dino Fonte has had a night.
Donnell Kirkwood, he's gonna go back that hole and go to the sideline and say, Coach, you're gonna call him a number. You gotta get those guys to block somebody up there. I mean, a good handoff, off tackle power. You see the tight end moving around, and 43, Tyler Hartman, the fullback, missed his block. That's normally what happens.
Kirkwood now lifted. He's replaced by Roderick Williams Jr. Nothing doing. Leidner using the feet, lowers the head. He's in there. Touchdown, Minnesota. Leidner using the 237 pounds to power the final couple of yards.
Well, Leidner wants to throw the ball. There's nothing there. Takes off scrambling. He's still looking downfield. Heck, with a little pump fake, go north and south. Duck your head and get it in the end zone. Not exactly sure he was in there, though. They review all scoring plays.
Yep, and you can hear the whistle.
The ruling on the field was a touchdown. Previous play is under review.
Yeah, you'll see a pretty good look right here. I think his elbow might have hit the ground before he got in the end zone. Right there. I think he's short. A little short, but short. Don't you love the way that Leidner just levels to the goal line?
Well, we have to remind you, it is the first game of the year.
Oh.
The call on the field is touchdown. You need...
I'm saying it's going to be down right there.
You need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call. The call on the field is touchdown. And do we have indisputable video evidence that he did not get in?
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Replay official must have said that it was not indisputable video evidence. And so it's a touchdown for Leidner.
I'm going to go back to the most important part of that. I love the way Leidner sniffs out that goal line and go. He a contact football player. He could play quarterback. He could play tight end. He could play linebacker. Play a lot of places. Jerry Kill's hoping he can play quarterback, though.
Santoso's had a perfect night. 4 for 4 on extra points. 13:56 remaining. 4 touchdowns, 4 extra points, 28-0 lead for the Gophers. Well, tonight the Rutgers Scarlet Knights making their Big Ten debut as they travel to Seattle to take on the Washington State Cougars. That game is already underway. It started at 9:30 Eastern Time. You can catch it on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Welcome, Rutgers Scarlet Knights and Maryland Terrapins to the Big Ten.
It's going to be exciting. East Coast football. Rutgers been playing football longer than anybody. Maryland, the Terrapins, which is a turtle, in case you don't know.
We're supposed to fear the turtle, I'm told. This has been impressive. I'll tell you what, each and every kickoff has gone through the back of the end zone. What a weapon that is going to be with Santoso this year for the Gophers.
Well, Minnesota has excellent specialists. Kickers, punters, long snapper looks good. Plus, Tracy Clay's made a point. They've got more depth on their special teams than they ever have before because all their defensive players are at least a backup on those teams.
There's Tracy Claeys, the associate head coach and defensive coordinator, now in his 20th year working with Jerry Kill. That's always a huge story when you do Gopher football games, the longevity of the staff working together. Matt Linegrover, 16 years with Coach Kill. Here's Manley into the game. Wants a bunch. Pass is tipped away. Good defense played by Cedric Thompson.
Well, he's initially open, but you got to throw it on time. You got to get in there. Good move. You can see that he's open, but Cedric Thompson does an excellent job cushioning back and getting underneath the post corner route.
20th start of his college career for Cedric Thompson. Kid out of Bombay Beach, California. Manley steps up in the pocket. Incomplete, looking for Bravo Brown. It was thrown behind him.
Manley's pass to 7, Bravo Brown is incomplete.
Well, let's watch it here. Gotten a lot of line stunts. Good protection. Quarterback steps up. He puts the ball on the money, and typically what happens when a guy drops the ball, he drops it not with his hands, his eyes. You saw him take that quick look where the defender is. You've got to look the ball in. Catch it with your eyes.
Manley, down he goes. Damian Wilson again, disruptive. He's going to get the sack. Tackle number 10 on the night.
They haven't brought a lot of blitzes tonight, but when they have been effective. And Some guys blitz and get there. Some guys don't. You saw Damian Wilson do an exceptional job using his hands to play off the cut block and thus get to the quarterback.
What a day for Damian Wilson. 10 tackles, a sack, and a pass broken up. Minnesota coaching staff saying, you know what, you get a junior college kid. The second year you get him, that's surely the year that he comes alive because he knows your program and is ready to give it a go. Marcus Jones on his feet a long time, reverses field, and Jones out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Marcus Jones, dangerous returner. The only guy to have a kickoff return and a punt return for a touchdown in Gopher history.
Football with BTN is brought to you by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today. And by John Deere Gator Utility Vehicles. Own a special edition Midnight Black Gator. Visit your dealer today before they're gone.
12:42 remaining. Minnesota pitching a shutout over Eastern Illinois. Here's our hardest working player presented by Duluth Trading. It's the middle linebacker, senior Damian Wilson.
Young man from Mississippi, by the way, of Jones Community College. He's having a big night just to start the season off. Some of his coaches have not seen anything yet.
Gophers have the ball and a significant lead. Kirkwood, the deep back, play action. Leidner, Williams, down to the 12-yard line. Another big play to the tight end. 32 yards on the pickup.
Well, Max Williams, you're going to see him. It's just another form of the wheel route where he goes inside. Wide receiver goes inside. He goes back outside, up the sideline. The ball's put right on the money. Put a little air under it. I like the way he protects the football. Max Williams, tight end deluxe.
Look at this. Good head of steam and a burst. Berkeley Edwards gets to the doorstep. Most significant play for the redshirt freshman tonight.
Unfortunately, you get this point in the game in the fourth quarter, and some of the Eastern Illinois players will look at that scoreboard, and then your desire to keep fighting and competing diminishes.
Berkeley Edwards, younger brother of Braylon Edwards, All-American at Michigan, son of Stanley Edwards, who was a wonderful runner at Michigan back in the 70s. Leidner taking his time. Play clock down to 2. They get it off. And the pass incomplete. Threw a fastball trying to get it to Goodger.
Pass incomplete to Goodger.
Drew Goodger, young man from Shawnee Mission Northwest outside Kansas City, came to Minnesota, just a skinny little tight end, and now he's 6'5" and just a hamburger under 270 pounds. He's a big man.
Second down and goal. This time they use the freshman Edwards to score. They spread out the defense and then give it to Edwards, who's in the end zone for the first time in his college career.
Well, they're just wearing him down. Nothing new. Just a zone play, handing the ball off. And Berkeley Edwards, for a little guy, a strong guy, broke the tackle, got in the end zone.
Santoso, 4 for 4 on PATs, 5 for 5. 35-0 Gophers. There's still time. But right now it's all Gophers. 35-0 over the Panthers. First collegiate touchdown for Berkeley Edwards just a moment ago. Berkeley Edwards come from a family steeped in Big Ten royalty. Jamie Hirsch is standing by with Berkeley's father, Stan Edwards.
Yes, former NFL back Stan Edwards. And I got to ask, what was the reaction to seeing your son score his first career touchdown in college?
Well, it's pretty exciting. He's worked a lot. He's come a long way. There's a lot of potential coming in, but now it's time for his potential to turn into production. So we're pretty excited for him. He was early on in the game. He was pretty excited, so I knew when the ball went through his hands, they didn't get the jitters out. But he's playing with a lot of good running backs, which is good for him because he's learning a lot from David Kirkwood and Roger Williams. So I think he did okay. We're all excited for him right now, but now they have to put the game away. He's got to continue to play better.
Well, and obviously this is a big deal for him to be back from an ankle injury last year. What did you tell him when he was dealing with that, having a red shirt and trying to get through that time?
Well, I had the red shirt in college as well, and I had an ankle injury also. So it was difficult for him. He thought it was an eternity before he would come back and he'll be able to play again. I told him time goes by fast when you're in school. So take this time to sit back, pay attention to what's going on around you, learn from all the guys that are around you, and do the best you can, and your opportunity will come. Just make sure you take advantage of it.
All right, well, thank you for the time, and congrats on a big night for your family.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
Jamie Hirsch, wonderful stuff. You got to wonder, will Stan Edwards be wearing that getup on September 27th? You got the Gophers in Ann Arbor taking on the Wolverines. Will Stan Edwards, who is a Wolverine through and through, 4-year guy for Bo Schembechler, good old number 32 in your program back in the late 70s, early 80s. Of course, his other son, Braylon Edwards, played for the Wolverines. Does Stan Edwards dare to wear the maroon and gold in Ann Arbor when the Gophers take on the Wolverines?
Well, if he wants to get along with his wife that night, he will, she'll call that shot. But I can tell you firsthand, Stanley Edwards was a great football player. And his other son, Braylon, I remember the first time I saw him in the big house running up the tunnel before the start of the game. And I looked at him and I thought, wide receiver? Are you kidding me? Berkeley might be small by some standards. Well, I'm going to tell you, Braylon was huge by everybody's standards.
Manley sets up a screen. Bravo Brown, his biggest gain on the night. Real suspense left in this game is will Minnesota pitch the shutout? It's been a while since the Gophers have had a shutout. 8 years ago was the last time they held an opponent scoreless.
Against Illinois.
Oh, that would have been on your watch. You're right. Intercepted. Intercepted Gopher ball. Jalen Myrick has the interception. And wouldn't you know it, the Gophers shutout still intact. Welcome back. We've had a reversal of things. The interception's taken away. A roughing the passer call after the pass was away. It's going to be 15 yards and possession of the ball for Eastern Illinois. Yeah, they call it on Deniro Laster, redshirt freshman out of Cleveland Heights, Ohio.
Cleveland Heights.
So second down and 10. Bravo Brown, another catch. You remember the last time the Gophers pitched a shutout? You said it was against Illinois. You remember the particulars?
We shut them out. We won the game.
Was it here or
we
was it
scored a lot of points in the dome.
And you know what? I'm being told that you guys also had a shutout against Temple in 06. That's the most recent shutout 8 years ago. Drake with another catch.
My memory isn't what it used to be. I don't remember that one, but I do remember the one against Illinois. Ron Turner was the coach. They had a good football team. We played in the dome and played awful good defense. Greg Hudson was my defensive coordinator, who's now the defensive coordinator at Purdue. But is there anything else you'd like to know?
That was impressive. I'll take it. Almost an interception there. Another catch by Drake, but he's tackled right at the line of scrimmage. Marcus Jones seeing some playing time right now. Almost had the pick.
Potential is a very dangerous word in coaching. You got to play in the moment. But when you look at Eastern Illinois, they have nothing to show on the board yet, but you can see where potentially when they start playing down to their level of competition, they could be a good offensive football team.
Eastern Illinois Football Championship subdivision. Back shoulder pass knocked away.
That type of play against the corner play that Minnesota is playing is just not going to work, because you can see those cornerbacks for Minnesota, especially Eric Murray, he is not threatened deep, so he is sitting on that route. He's ready to jump the out cut, and I guess he just doesn't respect the speed over the top.
4th down now. Manley keeps the offense on the field. That was a good throw. He threaded the needle, and Drake wraps it up. Pickup of 10.
Tackle by 28, Myrick. Panthers first down.
Not trying to get too much underneath. Clock continues to move. A pickup of 6.
For the most part, the Eastern Illinois offensive line has really done a fine job pass protecting, giving the quarterbacks time to throw the ball. Not only time, but there's no one in his face. It's like 7-on-7, pitch and catch.
Jimmy Lira to the 10. No surprise to find out Eastern Illinois has never played in the state of Minnesota in the history of their program. Not that far. Charleston, Illinois. The only other time that Eastern Illinois has played a team from the state of Minnesota was back in 1986. They took on Winona State. They won that game, so they're undefeated against Minnesotans. That won't last much longer. Just short of the first down marker. Nick Rawlis with the tackle. And it'll bring up 4th down and a yard, maybe 2.
Nick Rawlis is a valuable member of this defensive team. He's one linebacker that has the knowledge to play all 3 positions. Brother of Mike Rawlis, who starred here at linebacker.
And a quarterback sneak from a relatively long distance. It's going to depend on the spot. That wasn't just a dive across the center's backside. Manley had to churn the legs to get the first down. A Manley run keeps the ball with the Panthers. Eastern Illinois, they scored 40 points against a 1A team a year ago. Talking about what they did against San Diego State. And then they just blitzed Northern Illinois, which is a bowl team last year. They probably should have won that game. They had a big early lead.
I think they were leading by 20 points early in that game, and Northern Illinois had a fine football team.
Taylor Duncan down to the 2.
A lot of Northern Illinois ties. Obviously, Jerry Kill was the head coach there before he came to Minnesota. Rod Carey, who's the coach at Northern Illinois, was a graduate assistant for me at Minnesota back in the day.
We're going to see Northern Illinois on BTN next Saturday. Northern Illinois is going to play at Northwestern, Eamon Evanston. And there's the first touchdown of the night for Eastern Illinois. It's Andrew Manley calling his own number for 6.
And the streak continues. 127 games without a shutout in counting. Well, this is nothing more than a zone play with the quarterback carrying the ball. Lyman zone off. Quarterback just going to take his time, have some patience, look for a little seam, get it to the end zone.
Nick Bruno. That's his first college point. True freshman kicker missed a field goal in the first half, but here an extra point. It took a 16-play drive. The Panthers finally break the seal. Andrew Manley finally gets into the end zone for Eastern Illinois, and the shutout streak Now it stays intact. Last time that Minnesota pitched a shutout was back in 2006 against Temple.
Who was the coach?
Glenn Mason, calling all the right numbers, pushing all the right buttons. You're focused on offense that game. Here comes Marcus Jones. Didn't seem too adventurous. He's out of bounds, shy of the 20. Time now for today's John Deere Gator Game Changer. And it happened on special teams. It was the quarterback, Eric Murray, blocking the punt. And it was the wide receiver, Logan Hutton, picking up the loose ball and running it in for a touchdown.
Not only did Eric Murray block that punt, it was perfect technique. Love to see it. That just doesn't happen. That's good coaching.
And now a new quarterback in the game for the Gophers. Chris Streveler, redshirt freshman from Chicago. Pickup of 5. First play as a college player for Streveler. Technically, he is from Crystal Lake, Illinois. Gopher coaching staff knowing about him. Gopher staff used to be at Northern Illinois, up in DeKalb, Illinois. And Streveler, very familiar, his high school. Very familiar to the coaching staff. That's how they started recruiting him earlier.
My scouting report on Chris is that he has got great speed, very athletic, dual threat quarterback.
And again, Streveler is going to run the football. All right, so if this is the end of Mitch Leidner tonight, your thoughts on his performance in his first start in 2014?
I would say that he was a C performance. I expected more out of him. I think his decision making at times he got away with. There's a couple passes that were dangerous that he threw into a crowd of people. I know that he can run. You're dependent on the supporting cast. I would think that it was just a very, very average performance against Eastern Illinois tonight.
Well, there's still plenty of time to figure things out. That'll be a first down. The chains will move after a brief stop. Next game for the Gophers is next week right here, TCF Bank Stadium against Middle Tennessee. Now, the big plays that the Gophers had, remember, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for more explosive plays. 2 of them to Max Williams, the tight end, and 1 of them to Donovan Jones, which resulted in a 36-yard touchdown. Those are the playmakers in tonight's game. Streveler, some daring do. His 3rd carry. What do you think about the Gophers' schedule going forward?
Middle Tennessee at home, they should be able to handle them pretty good. Good test on the road against Gary Patterson's Horned Frogs down at TCU. Fort Worth, Texas. Typically TCU has been very, very good in recent history. Last year, not so much. I look for them to really come back this year. And then they play San Jose State, who the Gophers handled quite handily last year before they get into Big Ten play. They need to go 4-0 going into that game at Michigan.
Now, winning on the road at TCU won't be easy. Horned Frogs receiving votes in the latest AP poll. Streveler able to get to the corner. This kid can run a little bit. He's not the power runner that we saw with Leidner, but he's got quick feet.
Yeah. Prior to the departure of Philip Nelson, there was rumors that they'd play this young man at wide receiver, maybe some other positions, get him on the field because he's got great speed. He's a spread offense type quarterback. But I like, you can tell he's very eager. And one good thing about this, when you get to this point in the game, now you start playing a lot of people. What that does to your morale and your football team is invaluable. And the way that they'll come to practice next week, ready to go, because they had a chance to play, is worth everything.
Streveler's first pass is complete. Well, he knows what to do. Gets it to his tight end, Brandon Lingen, freshman from right here in the Twin Cities area. Pickup of 12.
He's from Wayzata. That's out my neck of the woods. He might be my neighbor.
You can carpool with him on the way home tonight.
I'll be hitchhiking. Who are you kidding? Raining out. Hope someone will pick me up.
And the rain stopped. Closing in on the 3-minute mark of this fourth quarter. I'll tell you what, these are designed runs for Streveler. He is not showing any fear.
No, a little surprising too. Here they're making mass substitutions. You got the second, sometimes third team guys in here. And I feel like the offensive tempo is picked up. They're trying to run as many plays as they possibly can.
E.J. Sardina just checked into the game for the first time. He wears number 23. One of the new wide receivers in the game. Cole Banham also in as well.
But they all wear Minnesota on the back of their jersey, just to get that straight.
This time Streveler hands it off, and this has got a chance to be a big play. Berkeley Edwards, there he goes! Touchdown, Gophers! He's done it again. The redshirt freshman from Michigan with speed to burn.
Well, here's what they've been talking about, this young man. You give him an inch, he may take a mile. Their offense, the Gophers offense, need this explosive type of attack, big play so desperately to move up the ladder that they want it in the Big Ten.
Coaching staff so pleased with the way that he performed in training camp and now doing it when the season's underway. 2 touchdowns for Berkeley Edwards. And it's now back up to a 35-point lead. Stan Edwards, he's seen this before. He's not surprised. Berkeley Edwards, how do you do? Welcome to Division I. Dave, thank you so much. And wow, that is cool. How about that for a start? The Big Ten action for the Scarlet Knights.
He's a good-looking receiver.
Well, they've got away with entrances. You mentioned before, the very first college football game.
Yeah.
Rutgers was in it.
Mike Leach out there in Washington State, he's saying they're not supposed to be that good. I'm supposed to do that. Not Rutgers.
They may need more than 7.
Well,
Taking on Washington State in that offense.
you had to bring that up, didn't you?
Hey, Rutgers, they got a Big Ten defense
I'm
now.
not talking about that.
The 12th ranked Gophers hosting Louisville in a volleyball match. Coverage starts at 8 Eastern. That is Saturday, presented by Tatcha Kara. Will take place just a hop, skip, and a jump away from here. The Sports Pavilion, just west of TCF Bank Stadium. Coach, I asked for you to give a grade on Mitch Leidner. Give me a grade on the defense and what you've seen tonight from the Gophers against the Panthers.
I'd give the defense a B+. I know they're playing Eastern Illinois, but that's a team with a lot of talent. The way they have the ability to score points in the beginning.
Manley overshoots his receiver by 5 yards.
I like the adjustments that they made during the game, and they didn't give any big plays up. You know, last year, Minnesota offense couldn't get big plays. If you had a criticism of the defense, they gave up quite a few big plays. You know, you want to get them, but you don't want to give them up. So I think overall that Tracy Claeys will be pleased, and Jerry Kill will be pleased with the performance of the defense.
And the numbers for the Gophers defensively: 3 takeaways and 3 sacks. Almost 4 takeaways. Passes knocked away.
They had a chance there, and early in the game they missed 2 others that were right in their hands.
Guy who almost had that pick, number 22, Craig James, unsolicited. We were talking to Jerry Kill yesterday, and we didn't even bring up Craig James' number. He's listed as a 3rd teamer. Jerry Kill talked about him for at least 3 minutes, if not 4 or 5, just about how excited he is about a true freshman from Edwardsville, Illinois. Craig James has got a chance to be really good if you're listening to Coach Kill.
Well, knowing Jerry the way I do, that means the kid's got a great attitude, great work ethic, and he's a tough player.
Pass is complete deep over the middle. So the Panthers will stay on the field. Derek Wells was kind of in coverage. Pickup of 25. Joe Powell had a grand total of 3 catches a year ago. He's got 3 catches tonight. Thrilled that the calendars flipped to 2014.
Eastern Illinois keeps throwing that route there. It's going to get picked off because those corners are sitting on it. You mark my word.
Timeout. Eastern Illinois, team second. 30 seconds.
Kim Dameron says, why not? Calls the timeout. Next week, Middle Tennessee.
Clock operator, please reset the game clock.
TCU and San Jose State. It's going to be interesting with this new divisional alignment that we have in the Big Ten this year. Of course, Minnesota, they're out in the West.
Thank you.
It'll be interesting to see how they match up. You know, it's kind of created a different look to the schedule. I just think it's for the best, though. I really like the West and the East division format. I think that it's going to be easy to identify and figure out what's going on. Tomorrow night, the defending Big Ten champion Spartans. They've got a game under the lights in East Lansing. They're going to host Jacksonville State, the Gamecocks. Pre-game coverage starts at 7:30 Eastern tomorrow on BTN and BTN to go. Mentioned it a couple times. Max Shortell used to be a quarterback here in Minnesota. He is now at Jacksonville State. Caught up with what he's doing nowadays.
Yeah, he had a promising career, and for whatever reason, I think he saw himself slipping down the depth chart a little bit. He wanted an opportunity to play, so he went elsewhere, and I'm sure Gopher fans everywhere wish him the best of luck.
Not a particularly hot evening. That temperature is in the high 60s all night. But this Gopher team has been on the field defensively a lot. They got to be getting tired right now.
Did you say it's not very hot tonight?
No. Well, it's still August. It could be 90.
It's raining. People have hoods up. Come on, it's Minnesota.
The Bugs aren't out, though.
A year ago, it was very hot there.
That was the 90th offensive play for Eastern Illinois. How many times did you guys have 90 plays when you were playing for Woody Hayes?
Did Woody Hayes have?
Can you imagine? Yes.
Oh, they had a lot of time. What? In fact, if you go check the stats, obviously it wasn't a hurry-up offense. I remember him saying one time where they were going to, he could see the day when the Ohio State offense could average 100 plays a game. Woody Hayes. Yeah, but you need great defense to do that, though.
Tackle is missed.
Hey, back in the day, when I was a defensive player, so I didn't understand, but he had a no-huddle offense, and Rex Kernan go up there and audible the plays, and they were caught. It was like patent 1, patent 2, patent 3. You know,
Well, he used to teach history, too, didn't he?
military history, yeah.
Pass is incomplete on 4th down. There is a flag down, however, that may once again be roughing the passer.
Result of the play is an incomplete pass. Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 92, hands to the face. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Remember, Jerry Kill's Gophers may still have a shutout going, if not for another roughing the passer earlier here in this 4th quarter. Yeah.
Well, in modern-day college football, if that hand goes anywhere near the head, officials are going to call it. That's what they're instructed to do. Player safety is paramount.
Robert Dondolay, the transfer from Winona State. So I guess Dondolay is getting a little bit of revenge. the only time that Eastern Illinois has played a team from Minnesota in their history.
Eastern Illinois.
They beat Winona State
Third and final
back in 1986. And now Robert Dondole, the transfer from Winona State, is saying, you know what, I remember that, and I will not let it happen again, and that's why he's playing with his hair on fire.
You're just a wealth of knowledge about Winona. I'm going to ask you something now.
Oh, don't have
Who is the most famous athlete ever from Winona, Minnesota?
Wow. That's a great question.
And the clock is ticking.
Brock Lesnar.
Paul Guillaume.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was a wild guess on my part. All right. I thought you were going to ask me Hibbing or something like that. I could have done that.
Who would you said there?
Well, I would have said Kevin McHale. Right?
Is Bob Dylan from there, too?
He did win a great athlete.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was a great ice fisherman. Bob Dylan. You didn't know that, huh?
I didn't know that, no. Half a minute to play, and the Panthers still trying hard. And that's going to result in a touchdown. Jimmy Lira, give him 6. So Lira's money here in the fourth quarter. That's a 11-yard touchdown catch for the redshirt senior from Lake Park, Florida.
Would you agree with me that you see the potential of this offense of Eastern Illinois when they start clicking, not making mistakes?
Can they win with 2 quarterbacks alternating, Whitlow and Manley?
I think they do have 2 quarterbacks they can win with. I'm not sure. I'm not an alternating type quarterback, but I think both those guys do some good things.
Both guys won a lot of games as Division I-A quarterbacks. Manley at New Mexico State and Whitlow for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Well, the important thing here, you'll see the quarterback put the ball on the money out in front of Lira, and that way he can catch the ball, get his eyes downfield, square his shoulder, make a defender miss, and there he is, touchdown. It's a simple game. What are you laughing at?
Now, don't forget 28 seconds of game time. The final drive brings you all the highlights from this game and around the Big Ten. The final drive tonight immediately following our game right here on BTN. It's almost as if my life is not complete unless I'm listening to Dave Revson on a nightly basis, telling me what's going on in the world of the Big Ten. Those summer months, agony.
Have you read his book yet?
You know, I have a copy of it. I
didn't ask you that. I have a signed copy.
Oh, goodness.
It's exceptional. Exceptionally well done.
The signature?
DiNardo didn't like it, though.
Oh, really?
Not enough pictures. He's kind of a comic book guy.
It wasn't scratch and sniff. Well, for Eastern Illinois, there'll be better days. Their next game is next week against Southern Illinois. That game has significance to Jerry Kill and a lot of guys on his staff. Before Jerry Kill's bunch were here in Minnesota, they were at Northern Illinois. Before that, they were at Southern Illinois.
Everybody talks about the continuity of the staff. Jerry's staff, the strength coach has been with 21 years. Defensive coordinator Clay's 20 years. Lime Grover 19 years.
Onside kick.
Well, if you folks at home that stayed with us for 3.5 hours, here's your pearl. Here's your factoid that you did not know. Matt Limegrover, longtime offensive coordinator here at the Gophers. He's probably the only guy that you know that used to officiate basketball games in which Barack Obama played. He was at the University of Chicago
Receiving teams.
as an undergraduate student, and to make money,
5-yard
he
penalty.
would referee intramural basketball games. And the then Barry Obama.
That's right. He said, which I didn't know,
Yes.
everybody called him Barry Obama.
He would play basketball, and Matt Limegrover would, there he is with the headset on, arms crossed. He would officiate his game. I asked him, did you ever
There he
call a
is right there.
technical on President Barack Obama? He said, no, I was just trying to get my $5 and get out of there.
We didn't have a chance to really get into what kind of player President Obama was.
That's pretty cool. And also also for you Big Ten Network people. You know, Stephen Bardo, who was a big part of the basketball coverage. Stephen Bardo was in those games sometimes. Stephen Bardo has played basketball with President Barack Obama probably within the last 5 years, I would bet. From the same Hyde Park neighborhood, south side of Chicago. Now some procedural issues here with 26 seconds remaining.
Now there's some boos coming out, and people might say, why would Eastern Illinois, down 42-14 with 26 seconds, try an onside kick? My answer to that, coaching, what better situation can you get to try it, to practice it? They might need that onside kick next week to win a football game. Coach it all the way through.
Well, isn't it also one of those things, too, where you're actually showing your hand? Like right now, if you're Eastern Illinois, you've just shown 2 different variations of the onside kick that you could run throughout the course of the year. So if I'm scouting again, I now know what they do.
Ready for play. Therefore, we're replaying it down.
You just tipped your hand. There's 2 types of coaches, fundamentalists, which I am, and schemers. You're a schemer. I'm a fundamentalist.
We're going to have one more snap, I would imagine. This is going to be from the victory formation. It's going to be a kneel down.
There was no ready for play whistle. Therefore, there was no kick. This is the do-over. We'll re-kick.
Wow, both offenses are on the field. Now, the offense and the defense are on the field. They'll have to get off, and the special teams units will go on.
Please reset the game clock to 28 seconds. 2-8.
And we're all doing this for the first time in 2014.
Coach Kill looks fired up. See, he's coaching right to the end, too. He's just working the officials a little bit. It's okay.
How about that? It pays off for the Panthers. So we'll have more than one play remaining because they're going to try and score another touchdown. That's the tight end, Jeff Lepak, who comes up with the football.
Now do you understand what I was talking about, Eric? Practice makes perfect.
No.
They tipped their hand, they showed it again, and it worked.
It's Thursday night in Minneapolis. The night's young. Come on. We got things to do.
I love it. Well executed.
All right, so Manly will finish it out for Eastern Illinois. They've scored a pair of late touchdowns. Crossed his body, incomplete. The hit is still going on.
That pass that you just saw has dangerous turnover, interception written all over it.
Daltavius McGee choosing to lay the lick as opposed to playing for the interception.
You cannot run left and throw back across the field, across your body, unless it's a screenplay, which that wasn't. That wasn't designed. That was a desperation play. They're fortunate.
There are times when Manly steps up and really throws a good ball. Throws a Manly ball.
You already said that one. I got it the first time. I just ignored it.
One last play into the end zone. It is caught. A touchdown as we've reached triple zeros. Adam Drake, touchdown EIU.
Well, let's go back and revisit my grade about the defense now. Oh, been there. You let younger guys play, give them an opportunity. Watch it here. Hail Mary pass. You got to go up and fight the ball because you know that receiver is. That ball's up for grabs. You tell that defensive guy, you go play it like a receiver.
The game is over. By rule, there is no need to kick an extra point. Game is over.
All right, so that's going to do it. Eastern Illinois, they scored 3 touchdowns in the final 7 minutes to make the final score respectable. 42-20 is the final score. The highlight for Jerry Kill's bunch on the ground. They rushed for 182 yards and 4 scores. Season's young. The non-conference win streak continues. 9-0 in regular season games against non-conference teams dating back to 2012. Jerry Kill looking for some hands to shake. This is a victory in itself. The fact that he was back with his team down on the field. It's the first time he's done it in 11 months. Remember, he's dealt with some significant health issues, but he's healthy again. He says he's feeling great, and he just wanted to be where he is most comfortable in this world, on the sideline with his team.
Well, he's happy with the score. He'll go and tell his locker room, to his players, say, hey, it's 1-0. We won the football game. But when they get in that film room tomorrow with that coaches, he's not going to be very happy. He's not going to be happy with the offense. He's really not going to be happy except with the score, how they ran the ball, how they threw the ball, how they protected the quarterback, and he's not going to be happy how they finished up on defense.
So it's a 42-20 final. The Gophers, they have Middle Tennessee next. This is a very important non-conference slate because tail end of the Big Ten year is going to be really hard for the Gophers. Let's go down on the field. Jamie Hurst standing by with the happy head coach.
Well, Coach, it's the first game of the season. There's going to be some wrinkles, but 42-20 is a pretty good way to start the season. What parts of your game were you most pleased with?
Well, I think the defense played really well. I don't think the score indicates that, but we played very well, certainly in the secondary, and did a good job. Offensively, we sputtered a little bit. They brought about everything under the sun, so we ended up zoning them there in the third quarter and got going a little bit, and then thought the kicking game was very good. But we got a lot of room to improve. There's no question about that, but I think everybody in the country would say that on the first game.
This was the start of the Mitch Leidner era here at Minnesota. How would you assess his performance tonight?
You know, that's hard for me to tell until I see film, but I know we won. That's the main thing. That's how you judge a quarterback.
All right, well, thanks. Congrats on the win.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And thank you, Jamie. Wonderful job working that crowd. And it is, well, it's a win, a 1-0 record for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. As Coach Kill said, there's things to work on, but 1-0 sure beats 0-1. 42-20 the final score from my partner Glenn Mason. I'm Eric Collins, and I'll send you to Dave, Jerry, and Howard in the studio.